WIBTA from making my half-siblings take DNA tests. My dad was a pro athlete. He wasn't famous, but he was a steady presence on a team that was. When his career ended after injury, his first wife divorced him, cleaned him out and got custody of their kids, turned his kids against him, and never remarried so she wouldn't lose the alimony payments. When Dad met my mom, his ex threw a fit because mom came from a poor family, wasn't white, and according to his ex, she was a gold-digging whore because she was pregnant before they got married. My mom died when I was young and we struggled for money between the payments Dad was making and his injuries, lack of education making it hard for him to get a job. My half-brothers were really well off from his support payments and the money from their mom and her close friend she was living with. Whenever they stayed with us, they made it clear that they were only there because of the custody order and that they thought we were trash. When Dad saw how upset they were making me after Mom died, he stopped asking them to come. Dad passed away a few months ago. His will left everything to me, so I am basically set for a modest life. As adults, my half-brothers never had contact with him, not even on holidays or his birthday. Suddenly they re-saying that I am not his. They re-going to compel a DNA test, that I influenced his will, and they re-taking me to court. I have no doubts that I am his thanks to a DNA test I already took years ago for non-paternity reasons that they don't know about. What I am starting to question is if any of them are his sons. WIBTA for agreeing to take a test, but insisting that they have DNA tests too, knowing that I am not going to give them anything even if they pass. They and their mother treated my parents and me like shit, and I want to know how far the hypocrisy stretches. I also sincerely want to not have any of them actually be my family. Info: have you talked to a lawyer about the legal implications of agreeing to a DNA test or about asking them to take DNA tests? That's what I was going to ask too. Would them taking a DNA test give them leverage to contest the will? Leverage they wouldn't have without the DNA test. Were they left nothing at all, or did your dad leave them a tiny amount? When people leave wills and leave people nothing, in some states it's easier to contest the will in that situation, so it's important to speak to an actual lawyer in your area. Pettiness aside, this is something you and a lawyer need to decide. You don't want to do something like this and have it blow up in your face and work against you. This contact a lawyer before anything. Yep, get a lawyer and instruct your siblings to only contact you through the lawyer. Block all forms of communication with them. This is not a Reddit question, this is a lawyer question. Talk to a lawyer about how to play this out. Missteps could cost you time and money, legal fees if they contest they will, and possibly more if a judge sided with them. Don't trust this to internet advice. I mean, NTA, but also why bother? Whether or not they are his biological children, 1, they are not in the will, and 2, they did not have a relationship with him or you. If they are not actually his, I guess you get to feel smug, but I do not think that creates any legal recourse for getting alimony or child support back retroactively after your father's death. If they are his, then congratulations. Like many people, you are biologically related to shitty people you do not like. The fact that you are biologically related does not matter legally or socially. They still do not get more money. You still do not have to have them in your life. I did just do the minimum you have to do to resolve the lawsuit and move on with your life. The time and energy you put into this little revenge is probably better spent elsewhere, and I would sincerely suggest putting some of that money toward therapy. These kind of hostile family dynamics can leave serious lasting impacts. They already are not your family. Just go and see with them. How will they even compel a test? Did your father have a will that said my stuff goes to my favorite son, daughter, or did it say my stuff goes to NTA? They definitely are, but just drop the rope already, for your own mental health. Info: what would be the point of demanding DNA tests from these people when it changes nothing? Your father left a will. They are not in the will. DNA does not change that. So what is the point? I think depending on the relation, if nothing is given they can contest the will, which I assume is why they are taking her to court, so it would just cement the fact they have no rights to anything of the dad's. From a legal perspective, it does not matter. OP should cut contact and just let the lawyers do their job. Definitely talk to a lawyer, forget the DNA tests. I don't think you'd be the asshole, but I do think you'd be opening a door they could and would walk through, block them on everything, move. Be satisfied knowing that your silence their no inheritance upsets them more than anything else you could possibly do. I am so sorry for your losses. I hope the next stages in your life are filled with joy. Dad passed away a few months ago. His will left everything to me, so I am basically set for a modest life. Honor the will, ghost the brothers. It was Dad's will, NTA. Do not speak to them. Leave all of this to your lawyer, or else anything you say or apply may come up in court if it gets this far. NTA, obviously, but let the lawyers handle it. Sure, it may feel good to stick it to them, but is that feeling worth the possibility of jeopardizing your case? Better to let someone else who is an expert handle it. It's what you pay them for. Talk to a lawyer. Don't do anything at all that you are not compelled to do by the court. It's opening you up for shit that may not exist if you do. NTA, but doing so would accomplish absolutely nothing. Given what they've said regarding contesting the will, I would suggest that you go ahead and hire an attorney and advise them that in light of their threat of legal action, all future communications are to go through your attorney. Legally, your father is also their father, as he was married to their mother at birth and never challenged paternity. DNA is completely irrelevant to his estate. It is also irrelevant to your relationship with them. There is no good reason to continue one not to overrule your father's will. Leave this alone. Be glad that you had the positive relationship with your father than your half-siblings did not. Info: how are you struggling if your dad was able to give you enough inheritance to be set for life? I wondered about this too. Even if he had a life insurance policy that is separate from a will. NTA, but I would not even waste time with making them take a DNA test. Just take your money, live a good life, and let your lawyer handle their BS. That will make them angrier than any DNA test result. You cannot compel anyone to get a DNA test, and they have no grounds to contest the will. Hand everything to the probate attorney and lose their numbers. I am not a lawyer, nor do I play one on TV, but I would not get a DNA test even though you already did years ago that they are not aware of, and I would not ask them to get a DNA test as it might come across you might be willing to share the estate if they are indeed your father's bio children. Make them hire lawyers. If in the U.S., with the exception of Louisiana, which has some strange inheritance laws, they follow Napoleonic law, your father had the right to leave his estate to whomever he wanted to, can leave it to a friend, all to one child, split evenly between children, or to a charity. I do hope your father's will is clear why he did not leave anything to the children of the first marriage. It is harder to contest a will if there is something along the lines "and to my children A, B, C I leave each one," or "to my children A, B, and C I leave nothing as I amply provided for them during their childhood to the detriment to my daughter OP." Talk to a lawyer. Stop talking to these people. Well, the rats do come out of the woodwork when someone passes. I am sorry you are going through all this, OP, and I do wish you the best. Your father clearly loved you. It's a pity your half-siblings are such entitled individuals. NTA. Edit. Also, OP, can we get an update at a later date after all this is hopefully over for you? But there is no point, cause you can't sue them for all the cash they got over the years if they aren't his. But they can sue you for your inheritance if they are, and make you blow through anything trying to fight them. First and foremost, I am so sorry you have lost both parents. I love my dad at 15 and still hurts 15 years later. You need to fully cut them from your life. It will not make a bit of difference if they are your real siblings. Hanging on and entertaining them is not healthy for your own self-growth. Your father left everything to you because you were deserving of it. To heck with your siblings. They are greedy like their mother. Do yourself a favor, block them completely. NTA, you are only giving what you are getting, and while I think it would also be fun to see their faces when you ask, I agree with others about checking with an attorney, but here is a different thought. Even if you take a DNA test for them and they see you're his, would they even believe it? They sound like people who have made their mind up and facts might just not matter. Is there a win in this situation to do it? Also, do you need a DNA test to see that they are his? Do they look like him? People have shitastic relatives all the time. You may not have wanted to see a resemblance in the faces of your tormentors, but it does not mean it is not there. I think there is a point where you should just say, here is my lawyer. You already know that you are your father's child, the will left what is left of his estate to you. Save yourself the energy these emotional vampires want to take from you. NTA, you will become TA if you bait them with this request because it serves no purpose and you know you are doing it to be petty. Do not bait this because it can cause additional legal problems for yourself if just avoiding being petty for the sake of not being petty is not enough for you. Cut contact. Do nothing until you are contacted by an attorney. They have to prove that the will is invalid. If it is, you might have a problem. If it is valid, it is very hard to challenge a will, and if so, their attorneys, if they are worth their license at all, will tell them there is nothing to challenge. ETA, if you took a DNA test already and it is one that allows you to find your family online, this will either directly or roundaboutly answer your question if they or one of their kids have taken this test. It will satisfy your curiosity. NTA, but don't bother. Don't take their calls. They are jerks. I might be tempted to point out the irony of their mom calling yours a gold digger, but only in the final message. Say bye, and be done with them. You owe them nothing. OP, I am sorry for everything you went through, but this is a silly post. Yes, I believe it would be an asshole move to intentionally drag these people through the mud now. If you do not want to have anything to do with them, then do not call, do not write. Do not go get DNA tests together. It sounds like you had easily win the case if they took you to court, so let it go. What you are talking about doing is called pouring salt in the wound. You have probably won already. No need to run up the scoreboard. NTA, you can ask them to do DNA tests, but they may well refuse to do so and you cannot compel them. I think your dad left you his estate not because you influenced him but because the older sons did not want anything to do with him except to be supported by him. It sounds like they have not changed a bit. Do not give them a penny. You would be the asshole if you try to get them to do a test if you do not intend to give them anything anyway. It is unnecessarily petty and you are best served cutting contact than twisting the knife that they got shafted in the will. Talk to a lawyer and ask to see them to see if the will is valid in your state or country. If it is, then their chance of fighting it will be impossible. It will be very hard to fight a legal will, unless they have very clear reason. No judge will get involved. Well, usually unless they can show that you illegally did something. NTA, you don't need to prove anything to them. Speak to an attorney and know your rights, but I don't think there's anything they can do about being cut from the will. Considering how awful they treated your dad, their assumed entitlement to his estate is gross. Sorry for your loss. The sooner you go and see the better. Don't let them harass you or make you unhappy. First, I am so sorry for what you and your parents went through. I am glad you had their love and I am sorry for your loss of them. Next, NTA, absolutely NTA. While I love the idea of even just presenting them with this so funny, I agree in investigating the legal ramifications of all this. I would think that genetic relationship really does not matter when a person decides to leave valuable assets to whomever, but we have seen people contest wills think Hannah Nicole Smith with reasonable doubts. Yep, a good legal investigation. All the best. You are definitely not, but you should contact a lawyer before you do anything. As other comments have already said, you need to be careful of what you do, because it might give them an edge over you that they did not have previously or just cost you too much money. Pettiness can wait. Viewers, I leave the judging to you. Write what you think in the comments. Remember to subscribe to the channel.